We have started already. We need to be very audible. Yeah.
As in loud?
Pardon?
Loud?
Yeah. Because we're not using microphone, so we need to. By the way, you're looking extra cute this morning.
Thank you. You too. Can I say those earrings look gorgeous?
Don't worry, I'll get you one. Do you like it?
Yeah.
It's quite heavy a bit, but it's fine still. So I want to share the link before we go, and I want to see if it's live, because this is my first time doing live video. Um, okay, we are live truly. I'm not seeing it. 16 minutes ago. Yeah, so guys, welcome to this channel. This is Follow Me Home. And here with me this morning is Anna. She's so talented. She's so knowledgeable in parenting, though she's young, but I had a lot of conversation with her on Sunday, and I felt like this should not be for me alone. I know there are a lot of people that want to learn with me as well. So that's why I invited her this morning. And I want to say thank you for coming. Thank you so very much. I really appreciate it. Thanks so much for your time. I know that your schedule is very tight. And thank you for making out time to be here this morning. So now let's get started. So can you tell me a little about yourself and your parenting journey so far?
In a few sentences. So I am a mom of one boy, 5-year-old boy, and it's only me and him. This was a situation since the very start, and very early on, when he was a baby, when he was 4 months old, maybe, I thought about the ways that I was parented, the struggles I had as a grown-up, and I made a decision that I don't want that. That I want to understand how I can support my child and how to understand what really I went through, what was my struggle, and how I can overturn that struggle to understand the mistakes that were made by my parents, or at least the mistakes that I felt, and just change them. So luckily, because we all know internet works in our favor, I came across a course which I took part in, a parenting course, and it opened the world. It just opened the world to me. And ever since then, I read books, I saw webinars, I spoke to knowledgeable people, and I just deepen my knowledge every single day.
Wow. So like, how has it been so far? Has it been easy?
Oh, parenting is never easy. Whatever journey you choose, whatever tools you use, it's never easy. It's challenging. because it's only me and my son, I feel I have some advantage because I do it my way. I don't need to um, decide between two people what to do. I kind of have the upper hand in decision making. But saying that, it's never easy. There will be days that are very challenging for my son. There will be days that are challenging for myself. And there will be days that are blissful and beautiful, and there is no challenge at all. So, but yes, the journey is definitely not a smooth journey. And there were tears that were, and feelings of not being capable, feelings of anxiety or frustration, and then feelings of accomplishments and just beautiful relationship. So yes, so it's definitely a journey.
All right. So from my few observations on Sunday while we were here with him, I noticed a lot of things and I got curious because how in this age were you able to like build into that level of understanding your schedules, importance of time, um, boundaries. I discovered there was a time you told him you wanted biscuit, right? And you told him no, you had to already today, and that was it. He didn't argue with you and nothing. So how did you get to that level? Like I've been thinking about it since Sunday, like no tantrums, nothing. How did you get to that level?
I think it's work every single day.
Okay.
It's not something that there's a magic wand that will just happen. But it's every day I'm very strict with myself. Every day I'm strict on schedule. Like my son goes to bed every single day at the same time.
What time?
It's 6 p.m. 6 p.m.
Hey.
Sometimes when we have some classes or he has some after school activities, it might be 6:30, but that's the latest he goes to bed. And because it's every single day the same, yesterday he came up to me he came from his dad and he told me that I'm already sleepy, I want to go to bed, it's time for me to go to bed. And that was 6:20, and by the time everything went to bed, it was 6:40, but yes. I involve him in decision making, I involve him in schedule making, and don't get me wrong, this is not something my son makes decisions in my house, he's fine. But there are certain decisions that he is able to make. Like I always give him options, and I've done that since a very young age. So I would give him options that are acceptable to me.
Okay.
So whether he will brush his teeth before he puts pajamas on, or he will brush his teeth after. The brushing teeth, there's no negotiation. Pajamas on, that's no negotiation. But he can choose when will be first, what will be second. So that's absolutely acceptable to me, but he feels that he has an opportunity to make a decision. And I do this throughout the day, every single day. There will be days that we don't have a plan for the day, and then I'll say, let's go and decide together. I include him in this kind of decision. If it's a Saturday, I will include him in whether he wants to go to the woods or to the park, or maybe stay home and do some arts and crafts. So then he has a say in things that happen. But what I do notice and what I do know is children work really well with schedule, really well. If a parent has a schedule, they absolutely love it. They know what to expect, and when they don't know what to expect, they just know what will happen. So there's no surprises. They're not anticipating on something. If my son every single evening when he goes to bed, he's like, "Mommy, what are we doing tomorrow?" And I tell him the whole plan for tomorrow. I'll tell him in the morning, we'll have breakfast, then he will go to school. I'll pick him up after school, and after school, today the plan is to go to the library with a car because I tell him even how I'm picking him up. And then go to the library, and then we have swimming. And then we come home, eat, and go to bed. So already yesterday, he knows what will happen today.
Okay.
Hence, it sounds like there's no way, no flexibility in there. And unfortunately, there is not so much flexibility in there. There are days that will be. There are days that I'll say, we don't have a plan for tomorrow. We will get up and we can decide together.
Okay.
So then he's included in the decision-making process. And he knows there is no plan.
Okay.
I give him options and he just gets involved. So it's just working every day and allowing him to be involved, which helps him to build his confidence. And to know that if I say no, it's a no.
So he understands your no is no, right?
Yes.
But how did you get into that level that he understands that your no is no?
Because my no never changes. If I say in 5 minutes we're leaving, I will set my alarm. And the alarm goes in 5 minutes. And we're leaving. To the playground.
Okay.
So I'm very strict with things like this because then he knows that he can't fall on the floor and cry. Because if he falls on the floor and cries, I'll sit next to him and be like, big emotions. I will accept his emotions because they're no offense to me. I will sit there with him and be like, it's difficult to leave the park. But staying in the park is not an option. So I will say, for example, 5 minutes pass, you can choose one last thing. Which one's going to be? Swing or slide.
Okay.
And then he will say slide. He comes out of the slide and runs to the gate.
And that's it.
I've never experienced a tantrum on the playground. Luckily.
Luckily, or should I say because it's like a process. Now he's used to it already.
Yes.
So do we just conclude it because he's been used to it?
Yes.
Okay, now, so what if there are children who came from the background of do this, if you don't do this, you get scolded, and now coming to a country where that is not allowed,
Yeah.
how do you help them transition into that phase that parenting becomes easy?
It's not going to be easy. I can guarantee even if it gets to the easier part, it's never easy. But what I would say, depending on the child's age, I would encourage to speak to the child and say, this is not working for us. So the way that we speak to each other is not working for us. The first thing you have to do is make our own decision that we are committed to change, because we can't expect the child to change if we don't change. So that's the first thing we have to do, and know that it's not going to be easy, and there will be repercussions. If we change suddenly from something they know, they will fight it because they don't understand it. They don't know why you're approaching them with curiosity now, whereas before they felt that it will be punishment. Why they're not punished, whereas they feel they potentially should have been within the experience they had before. But the thing that I would encourage is to speak to the child and say, this is not working. This is something that I struggle and I see you struggle. Let's sit down together and see how we can do this better. How can we make our home a safe home that we want to be here, and how we can communicate. And ask them, how do you see yourself being here? And you might not like the answer, but what you have to hold as a grown-up is the space for them to have the opportunity to say what they feel. They might not want to. They actually might not even understand what you're saying or what you're asking. You can say, if they don't, you can say, let me start. I feel that we are both arguing, or we are both screaming, we are both not understanding each other. How can we communicate better to understand? You can give an example, because I'm a hard believer that parents lead the relationship. Whatever relationship you have with a child, you have the opportunity to change, because you are the parent and the child loves you and will go. It just might be a little bit rough to go through, but it will change.
Okay. So on Sunday when we were talking, you said you've not put on your TV in the last 6 months.
Yeah.
That means there's no screen time for Nicholas?
No.
So how do you handle that and it doesn't get upset or something?
So there was screen time in my house before, and the moment that it stopped is the moment when we woke up and my son said, "Mommy, let's put on the TV," and it was like 6 a.m. and I'm like, "Whoa, something's wrong.
Obviously.
Something is wrong with my child is waking up and saying I want TV," and he did have meltdowns or he wanted screaming, he wanted the TV on. I was like, this is not something that I am willing to accept in my house. It's stressful for me, stressful for him, and it's not really allowing us to engage in anything because he just is out. He just watches as he's out. So how did I do it? Let me think. I think if I remember correctly, I just stopped, but I didn't tell him I would stop. I started to occupy him with something different. So we would take out arts and crafts. We would take out, I don't know, books, and I would be very engaged. So if I would just leave him, then he would just, at that point, now he's absolutely fine and he does so much by himself. But at that point, when I'm trying to change it, he wouldn't be feeling engaged because he wanted to do the TV and there's nothing for him to do if the TV is not on. Something that I think is really important is to understand boundaries and to live with boundaries with the child and teach the child boundaries as well. And I feel because I've set up really strong boundaries with him in the past, it wasn't such a difficult task to go for. So boundaries, expectations, setting expectations, what is allowed or what isn't allowed, that was something that we worked on really hard. And when I say boundary setting, is when it's to the extent where if I raise my voice, I teach my son. The thing that I teach my son, because my temper is short. I have a short fuse. I work on it, but I could lose patience really quickly. So something that I teach my son is to not accept anyone yelling at him, including myself. So the words that I actually taught him, a sentence is, if you want to speak to me, use your calm voice. And I'm like, if someone isn't using their calm voice, just leave the room. I'm like, it doesn't matter who it is.
So it's your rule.
It's a rule. It's his boundary.
Okay.
I'm teaching him to set the boundary, regardless if it's with me, it's with me, and I'll take it because I was raising voice. If it's with someone else, they will take it. I use it for him too. If he's raising his voice to me, I'll say I don't accept, and I will leave the conversation. It's because he needs to know that his boundaries stand as hard and as firm as mine, and they are accepted for him to have them. And because we had that in place, when I said the TV, we will find different things, it wasn't really difficult. But if you don't think of if you don't want to exclude TV at all, or you don't want to exclude it, but you want to lower it, it's something that I showed you on Sunday, is to ask your child, how much time do you think is acceptable? And then they say, an hour. And you think, okay, whether it's acceptable for me or it's not acceptable for me. Is 1 hour too much? Probably is. So let's say you will go with, and this is negotiation. You counter offer, say, an hour is too long, but I can accept 30 minutes. And they say they accept or they don't accept. They say, for example, 45 minutes, and you're like, no, 30 minutes is enough. And they say, okay, so then you decide the dates. When? How often? When can it happen? So 30 minutes after school, or is it 30 minutes after dinner, or maybe 30 minutes before dinner, etc. So you are very precise of when it is, what's happening, and it's the child's responsibility to remember. It's not the parent's responsibility. And this is when you have the opportunity to say, actually, you missed a day, and it's not going to happen. It's not going to, you're not going to get extra 30 minutes because you forgot. So it's holding a strict boundary of things that you allow. And this is something that parent has to commit to, be like, okay, I will have this to the T. If it's Monday after school, 30 minutes, then it's Monday after school, 30 minutes. If you come on Tuesday and say, oh, Tuesday there's no screen time, but can I have the one that I had yesterday because I didn't use it? And you're like, no, it was yesterday after school and you forgot. And this is what we do with sweets. We have sweet Mondays. And it's my son's responsibility to remember the sweet Monday is sweet Monday. If you miss a sweet Monday, then there's no sweets on Tuesday.
Oh, okay, so it only takes sweet on Mondays.
Yeah.
Okay.
2 biscuits on Sunday at church is an exception.
Sometimes all these things feel like you're punishing the child, especially when the child keeps insisting.
Mm.
Do you get? But I still have another question.
Mm.
How did you get to that point where you made him to understand, and he understands that sugar is not good? How did you explain? You remember I offered him Fanta on Sunday and he told me he doesn't take Fanta.
Yeah.
Like he only takes water. How did you explain that to him and how did he take it?
I did explain it. I don't drink it. So it's not in our house. So he's just not exposed. If I have to be honest. It's as easy as that. Things that I want him not to see, I do not eat or drink next to him. Sounds very bad. But if I have something that I'm like, oh, I would like to eat it, I will have it in the evening. Or I will just not have it. But the way that I have showed him or explained is that he is very involved in the way I cook. So he is involved in the kitchen.
Wow.
So he knows spices, seasonings, because every time I cook, I open it, I show him. He sniffs it or he tries it. He like cinnamon or something. He knows it because he knows the spice that we use. Or he will use a knife and a cut. He has his knives, and only now he's transitioning to normal knives. But since he was 18 months, he had his own set of knives, which are, they're like plastic knives, but they have this, like, I don't know, kind of, yes, like they're textured, so they can cut, but if you do something with your finger, the most you will just scrape it, but it's not going to cut the finger. And he was involved in the kitchen very early on, so whatever we do, he understands the ingredients. And with sugar, I explain everything to him. So in my house, I don't tell him, don't touch, don't do, stop.
You learn to experiment.
I do. With the oven, he's 5, right? But he is capable of putting things in a hot oven. Because from very early on, I never told him, don't go to the oven. I always said, if you touch the oven, and I would take his hand, I would place it above whatever oven it is. It's hot, very hot. I would say, feel how the temperature is changing, how much hotter it gets. It really does.
Experience.
Yes, but I would explain to him, he can't touch it, but he will get hurt. So I always tell him, you can touch it, that's an option, but your skin will hurt. It will burn. And he did burn one time, not in the oven, something else. But he's like, ooh, a little bit. He's like, oh, it's really hot. I'm like, yeah, they hurt. He's like, yeah, great hurt. I'm like, this is what happens when you touch something. It burns your skin because our skin is not used to the temperature that high. And he's never touched anything. When I was a child, I had some scars from touching ovens or touching kettles or things because I was always told, don't touch it. And I was very curious, why? Like, what will happen? What is it that they're keeping away from me? It has to be super fun if I cannot touch it. And my brain was orientated on don't touch it, but actually our brain is wired to not listen to the no And what I heard is touch it. If you have your phone, imagine this. If you have your phone and you have this thought, don't drop your phone, don't drop your phone. How often do we drop our phones? Because we have this like, don't drop. But if you don't think about it, you just hold your phone and you're like wandering around, nothing happens because your brain is not focused on the phone and to keeping the phone. Our brain is focused on just doing something else and the phone is just kept because there's nothing to focus our minds. The perfect examples are if I tell you not to think about something, you'll be like, okay, and then you think you can maybe not think about it, but you actually will think about it because I told you not to think about it. But I told you exactly what you shouldn't think about it. So if I tell you not to think about elephants, you're like, oh, and an elephant just ran through your brain. Because that's how we are, because we don't hear no. We logically understand no, but it's impulse control. Grown-ups have it, not everyone. Like impulse buying. We buy because we have an advert. We're like, oh, let me buy, I really need this. And tomorrow, like, why did I spend 50 quid on this? I don't need this. It's the impulse. Someone showed us something, and we're like, yes. And child is like, yes. So this is how it happens. If he is, I'll go back to the kitchen and go back to the sugar. We use alternatives in our house. So sugar, I always tell him, these are the benefits of sugar, and there's not many. There's almost none. And I'll tell him these are the benefits of honey, or we make our own date syrup. So I will tell him these are the benefits of date syrup, like fiber or this or that. And I'll tell him what are the situations that will happen if he has too much sugar, what will happen with his teeth, and I'll show him these are the effects if you don't brush your teeth and use sugar, you have those things because it goes into your teeth and just the teeth start to rot and they start to break down because the sugar is too much and it's just affecting your teeth and your body and your brain. I treat him very grown-up-ish as much as possible with information like that.
So you don't just tell him, you show him and let him know the implications.
Yes.
All right. So I guess one of the questions I put in, I've not been following the questions.
Okay.
Do you allow him get close to other children?
Yes.
You know, I have this notion that during their formative years, we need to limit their interaction with other children since we are still trying to build their character. So, how do you explain that? Like, do you feel it should be limited or should just allow them to explore?
What is the age range that you're referring to?
Maybe 3 to 10.
To 10 years old.
Yeah.
Okay. So I don't do that. I feel that I would allow him to maybe interact with every single child.
Okay.
But I have to say that it's probably the grown-ups that I would not want my child to interact with instead of children, because children, they follow grown-ups and they say things or do things that you would feel that it's not in line with what you feel is the right thing for a child to learn. But at the same time, it's a good opportunity to discuss this. Ask him how he felt when he heard this. What are his thoughts about it? Don't deem that it's bad or good because it's your opinion, isn't it? Just ask the child how he is feeling or she is feeling with the situation and how it made them feel. Did they feel okay, or did they feel that maybe someone crossed the line, or maybe that someone made someone upset and they didn't feel good with that? And you can have a full conversation about it to what they feel could be done instead. What just encourage ideas like what next time he sees something this, can he maybe interrupt this? or stop this, show him that he's not happy with it, or show that there's a boundary that was crossed, if it's towards him or towards someone else. So I think having a good social connection builds character and builds confidence in society, which is needed in his future life. But I would definitely allow conversations around what is okay and not okay to take place.
Okay. So, how do we explain the place of emotional intelligence from parents and also from the kids?
How to explain this?
Yeah, like what do parents need to do?
Name the emotions. That's the first thing I would say. And allow them to be. So,
You should name the emotions.
name. Things that are named become less scary.
Okay.
So if you see, you can even ask, but the more you name emotions, even for yourself, you can say, oh, I feel very overwhelmed. Oh, I feel really frustrated. Or, you know what, I feel this excitement within me. And always try to do it only for yourself. When I say that, I mean, if you got really, really angry at your child, the moment you say, you made me angry, actually what happens is the child feels guilt that whatever they've done, it made you angry. Therefore, when you really dig deep into that, that means that your emotions are connected to behavior that your child is representing or is having. Therefore, they are technically in control of your emotions, and that's how they see it. They won't understand they see it this way, but they will feel the guilt that they cannot behave this way because it will make you mad. Not because they feel upset about it, it's because you get mad. So they will try to find different things and different ways to do something. It's because they will try to avoid you being mad or you even finding out eventually. That's why there's like, you can see children lying or children doing that because they will try to avoid our behaviors in certain ways or our emotions, or try to save our emotions, like make them, make you happy. But actually it's nothing to be involved. Like their behavior isn't something that should influence us. So we have to start from ourselves. Name our emotions. Name things that we are proud of, things that we are happy with, things that we upset, things that make us whatever emotions we have. That will as well allow the child to understand, oh, this is how my mom feels, or this is how someone can show that they're sad, they might be crying. Don't try to hide it, there is no need. The child will still know you're sad, you just pretend, and they think it's better to pretend that you're not sad. Actually, it's fine to be sad. So if you're sad and you're crying, you just say, I feel really sad. I just feel sad. I just need a moment to be sad within my own emotions. Honestly. Sounds funny.
But do you feel they will understand the depth of that sadness?
They don't need to. They don't need to. They will have their own sadness in life. So they will have their own sadness, but they might start learning empathy because they might sit next to you and hold your hand. And they'll see, actually, the support is there. If they're sad and they're crying, you can sit next to them and say, can I support you? I see your body showing me that you're sad. Your body, your hands are doing whatever they're doing. Your face is doing, your tears are going down your cheeks, and it's showing that you might be really sad. How can I support you in that? Because ultimately, if a child feels sad or angry or something, if we say, don't feel this way, or we say, why are you feeling this way? Like, stop, there's nothing to be sad about. If you imagine yourself being really sad, if I tell you stop being sad, does it make you happy?
No.
The only thing that will happen is you will try to hide that you're sad, so someone will come off your back. And the child is doing the same thing. It's like, okay, so I shouldn't show I'm sad. I'll just wipe my tears, smile, then go ahead, go ahead. Doesn't mean they're not sad, doesn't mean they're not struggling. It means the next time they will struggle, they probably not come to you because they already know that they're not welcome with their emotions or their negative emotions. Happy emotions, people accept as they are. Negative emotions, we feel that and it's nothing about the parents, it's we want to save our children from having those negative emotions. But if they have this negative emotion because their toy broke and the toy was really important to them, and they're really sad about this and they're crying, if we say it's nothing, then they will have in the future some kind of really big situation and they again won't feel that they can express it. But if we sit down and say, that toy was so important to you, so sad that it's broke, then you can't play with it anymore. It has to be very, very upsetting. You will see the magic because they will just do like a little nod or they will look at you depending on how old they are. And they will feel understood and they will feel seen and they will feel that they're not too much with their emotions and they're welcome with their emotions. And you know those situations where you have children that really struggle. The more people they can find to express these emotions, if they have the parents to support them with their emotions, they can let go. Because naming negative things makes things less scary as well, and makes them less. They have a smaller hold on you if you speak, and you take them out of your body.
Okay, I'm learning. So how you told me the other time that you're teaching Nicholas how the things you can do to make money. So what are you teaching him?
First of all, what I teach him is that money is a tool and money is a normal thing. It's not, no need to talk about it. This is the reality. We live in a society where we need money to have certain things, to pay for houses or pay whatever. So that's the first thing, is I allow the topic of money to be in our house as a normal topic. Like there's no taboo. What I introduce, don't get me wrong, I don't burden him if there's any situation that I have to think how to raise a bigger amount of money for something. It's not him to think, oh, okay, let me just find money for my mom. Absolutely not. But I never make it that money is an issue. I never make it that money is something that I cannot handle. I always tell him, if, for example, I'm going shopping, and let's say I have 40 pounds in my bank account, and the 40 pounds has to be for my weekly shopping, right? I will make a list of things that I'm buying. He can be involved, doesn't have to be involved. You keep whatever you feel like it. And then we go to a shop and say, look, I prioritize my funds to buy these items. And you never say, oh, I can't afford something more. I mean, you can, but I feel that the best way is not to say that because that means, oh, money is limited. There is a limit to money. Therefore, we grow up with like, oh, I never have money. Oh, I never have money. And the mindset of never having money is a really strong mindset. The mindset of I prioritize my funds. Actually, what it means is whatever amount of money I have, which is no limit, I will prioritize on something that's important to me. When we go to a shop before, so I take precautions every time. Like I told you that I do the schedule, the same thing is with shopping. Before we go to a shop, I will ask him, is there anything you need from the shop? And then he will say yes or no. Not always, this is not always something I do, but I do allow it from time to time. And I say, let's do 2 pounds. I'm doing the limit for you for either one item or something up to 2 pounds, right? And we will walk around. He feels really important. He will walk around and choose something, and then he will find something else. And I say, oh, you've chosen something. Do you want to take that, or do you want to see this? And it's really interesting because I saw in his mind this is something we don't really do anymore because it's so normal to go shopping that he doesn't ask for things now, that it just became a norm for us to just go shopping to the things that we heard.
Okay.
But he will go like, oh, I have some sweets at home. I'm not taking sweets. I'll take this car. Or then he will go and say, I do actually have cars in my house. I really want this crisps. And not to say he will eat the crisps, not to say he will eat the sweets now, but he will choose something for himself. And that's his as well. Like if he chooses a sweet and you're like, oh, that sweet looks really good, unless he gives it to you, you cannot take.
Really?
Yeah, no, I would not. Something, if I buy something for him, it's never for share. Unless we buy it to share and then we share it, I would have to ask him. And if he says yes, awesome. But if he says no, then I would not do anything with it. I would just not have it. And I would just die inside, wanting this piece of chocolate. But I wouldn't. I would say I would respect the fact that he has something of his because I don't expect him
To share.
I don't expect him to share, but I don't want him to expect me that I will share everything as well. I don't. We have the boundary that something is, if it's something mine, like my phone, my child doesn't take my phone. My child doesn't take my things. Because he respects that these are my things. He can ask for it, but if I say no, it's a no. But this is why it's important that it has to go both ways. Otherwise, it just doesn't work. It just doesn't work. Sorry, I went off topic a little bit here. Did I answer your question? Kind of.
Not yet.
Sorry.
How does it get to make money? What are you
Oh,
doing
yes,
about
money.
how to make
Sorry,
money?
I went on. It's a big topic for me, so it's everything's connected. I show him. I tell him, okay. I will do small things. I will write things down. He's 5, right? So he understands numbers, and I will show him. Like Nicholas, if you have 10 pounds, and I'll write down 10. If you go and you buy a little car that is 3 pounds, you have -3, therefore you have 7. And then you go and buy something. I usually don't go for 10 because that's a few things that you have to buy. Let's go with 5. You have 5 pounds. Then you buy something that costs you 3 pounds. You have 2 pounds left. And then you go and get some ice cream for 3 pounds again. So you have -1. The -1 is debt. You had to borrow that 1 pound to be able to afford the ice cream. And in reality now, when you get more money, you have 1 pound less because you have to give back the debt. And usually you have to give back more. And then you can see, and if you look at this is where you come with -1, so you don't have any money. But if you take the 5 pounds and you invest it into something, and that 5 pounds stays, but then your investment grew by 2 pounds. You take the 2 pounds and you buy your car. And then you leave that, you don't buy the car, and you have now 7 pounds. And you take the 7 pounds and you invest it into something else. Maybe into something that you want to sell and make.
This one must be made.
But this is how we do. We do on small amounts. But I'm like, if you take this, and for example, he likes to do arts and crafts, like bracelets and stuff. Like if you invest the 7 pounds into buying string and some beads and some other little things, and you make bracelets with your time and your energy, take those bracelets, sell them, and then from this 7 pounds, you will have now 15 pounds because you still have your 7 pounds, but you earn more because you put in time and effort and you sold it. So now you have 15 pounds. So this person that's just spend their money, they have -1. But you thought about it and you have 15. And then you still have your capital, but you're growing your wealth basically. these are things that I show him, and this will be literally over breakfast. I'll be like, oh, you know what, and then I'll go for a 2 minute, oh, this will happen, or there's a situation in the shop where he wants a car. There is a car that he wants to buy. It costs £2 in Asda, and he wants that car for the last 6 months. He has his money. Like, he has a little wallet. I'll give him some change. He got some money for birthday, so he has, let's say, I don't know, £25 in this little wallet, right?
Okay.
And he's like, oh, honey, I can go and buy it. I'm like, yes, but then you will never have this money again. So now, you know what? But I don't stop him. I always say, yes, you can. But that gives me an opening, a window, that actually can now talk about money. There are children that get £2 a day to go and buy themselves something in a shop on the way to school, right? They have food at school, but there's like a little thing. If you teach that child that if they save this £2 and they think how can they work with it, and that's £2 every single day for 5 days a week for a full month, that's 20 days. So that £2 suddenly becomes £80 in a scope of a month. But for them, those £2 they never had, and they was oh, just £2. £80 is something you can actually buy something. Like, you can have something really big, but it's just allowing the mindset that money is not the enemy, because money is not the enemy. But as well, money is not what you want to make your child be super hyped about, because actually their life doesn't need to be about making money. Their life has to be about them growing and doing what they feel like, or whatever they're passionate about, whatever they want to do. Not to be earning money, but to live and to have a beautiful life supported by money.
So how do you strike balance between structure and flexibility? Like between your standards and flexibility?
We have a lot of structure in our house. We have a lot of flexibility as well.
Okay.
So there will be things that are throughout the day, things that are structured, like school, like breakfast, school. Nicholas does 4 different activities after school throughout the week. So that's another thing that we kind of have in place. So there are certain things, and bedtime. These are things that are not, we don't negotiate with them. They're just there, and that's it. We can move around weekends. We can move around different places, different days. And when I do have that flexibility, I involve Nicholas in deciding is that what we want to do. So I involve him in decision making. And what is really important, if I'm not with him and I have my own time, I do share with him what I've done. I don't make him think that my life goes only around him and I don't do nothing if I'm not with him. And I'm really sad when I'm not with him. I am sad. But actually, I do so many things that I don't need to be sad.
Okay.
And I tell him that I'm so excited and so proud of myself doing whatever I was doing. And it's great to be with him now. I miss him. But I'm so happy that we're back together and doing something together.
Also, you tell him everything. Okay.
Not everything, but I do tell him things that I do that give me a sense of accomplishment. Yeah, I will tell him. If I failed with something, I will tell him too. I tried something, I failed. Because failure is good.
Okay. So what do you think parents should unlearn from traditional parenting style?
Oh, it's a big one. It's not a case of unlearning. It's a case of allowing your child to exist with their emotions and being curious about them. Not allowing them to just coexist with you in the house, but being curious where things are coming from. And they come to you with a situation, not the judgment that we are used to in different types of parenting, but the curiosity. If they come and say, "Oh, I had a fight with another boy," and it was like fist fight, instead of saying, you know, "You're bad, wrong, something," say, "What happened? What was the situation? Tell me about it." Because first they came to you, they told you, even if they didn't, maybe they feel ashamed. You can say, you must feel ashamed that this happened, or you must feel something about it. What is this you feel? Name some things. You might be wrong. You might completely be wrong. They might be super happy. They might be super angry. They might be super frustrated. But you guess. At some point, they will start telling you, "Oh, I don't feel embarrassed, but I feel really, really upset or disappointed." And then you're like, "I can see that." Acknowledge that. So think allowing your child to be and having boundaries with children and yourself are things that I would say are the first that are important to implement.
I feel parents too need to be disciplined first before you can inform discipline, because all this screen time, even personally, I myself getting lost on my screen, going to toilet with phone. I want to cook and I'm stuck on Instagram, Pinterest, what have you. Oh my, so okay, discipline, right? We'll do just that. So there's another question, because I've heard parents who tell their children, if anybody bullies you, don't allow that. If anybody calls you black monkey, tell the person you're white monkey. You know, like, so how do you teach your child to respond to those who sees or fights him or try to bully him?
Okay. So let me just add that Nicholas is mixed race. So just to
Yeah, he's
That's-
Nigerian, right?
he's half Nigerian. And this is something that I really that I was dreading. When we had a situation when he was 2 years old, barely walking, and two children, two kids, 7, 8 years old. I was walking with him, a 2-year-old, and they started to yell to him, "Go back to Africa. You don't belong here."
But it doesn't look like us.
No, he doesn't. He's not white. He's mixed, and that's what happened when he was 2. And I got really upset. I got so angry. So I went to that door, and I knocked to the door because I knew there was an adult. They were too young to be home alone, and I gave all my frustration to the parents, saying that this is what happened. This is what your children are saying through the window to other children. And then I left. And then I got so mad at myself because actually it's only my interpretation, how I feel. I can show my child. If I showed him and I said to them that, yeah, living in Africa would be great, but it's like, oh, but we're stuck here in England. Right? What, I could turn that in positive. And I'm not saying that it's a good or bad way. There's a lot of racism, and I dread this. But what I find is, and this is what after the situation, and it happened with us too, so that was really, really early on. After the situation, I put a lot of effort to building his confidence. So me telling him that we have a different color of skin, there are people that have different color of skin. You have a whole range, so his dad will have much darker skin, I have much lighter skin, he has a different color of skin, but it's something that I always bring up. And a tool that I've implemented very early on is to understand what is an opinion and what is a fact. And this is why, so I implemented this tool because I want him to understand that because someone has an opinion doesn't mean that it's true about him. So on our way to school, and it's almost every day that we do that, so it's something we do constantly. We go on our way to school and I ask him what is a fact and what is opinion. And obviously at the beginning I explain, a fact is something that is the reality. Opinion is something that someone just decides that they feel like saying. So a car could be silver and it could be a car. That's a fact. A fact that this is a car that is silver, that's a fact. No one's going to dispute that. But opinion is that I like this car, or I don't like this car, or I think it looks rubbish, or I think it looks whatever. That's my opinion. So I will go with him and I will say, oh, what is this? And I'll say a sentence. Is that a fact or opinion? And then he's like, oh, it's opinion. And then I say things about him. And I say, if I come to you and say, oh, those trousers are horrible. And then I'm like, is that a fact or opinion? He's like, it's an opinion. And obviously it took time for him to understand what is the difference. And he still mixes it up sometimes, but we still do it. And I say to him, so if I tell you that, oh, your hair is horrible, his hair, to clarify, is big and curly, not afro, but big and curly. If someone comes to you and says, oh, your hair is horrible, you should go to a hairdresser and you should just cut it. Don't get me wrong, I don't only say negative things to him, no, but it's negative things that I prepare him to. Because when it comes for me, I'm a loving person to him, and he knows that he's safe, but he hears it and he knows what it could be. And I say to him, what can you say? And he said to me this about 2 weeks ago. It's like, it's okay to have your opinion. I don't agree with it. I really like my hair, but you're okay to think so. And just walk away. I'm like, if people say this to you, these are not your people. It's not people that you probably feel okay with that. Like, okay with them. And that's okay. You don't have to interact if you don't want to. But they can have opinions about you. And if they feel they need to express those opinions, it's their situation, not yours. You can either accept their opinion and take it as your truth, as your fact, or you can learn that it's actually not your opinion, their opinion that will affect you. And this, going back to the situation you said with the black monkey, did you say, and white monkey, that to call each other monkey. You kind of doing that, you show the child that you fight aggression with aggression, because calling someone whatever besides their name is aggression. It's a form of aggression. And you tell your child to show this form of aggression to someone else, and these things can escalate. These things, I feel, could escalate to your child seeking even comments on them, about them, even if they don't hear that. And then you think that someone is laughing at you because I don't know, they looked at you and they're laughing, but they actually might be talking about something behind you. There was something, or they might just look randomly at you, but they were talking about a story that happened 2 months ago at a family event. Like, we just don't know, but we, through our experiences, we place a lot of truth in different situations, and miscommunications happen and things happen, and it's just the only thing that we have power over is what we feel about ourselves and how we feel about ourselves. So building your child, instead of focusing on other people and what they say or don't say, building your child to be happy with who they are and love just them as them is such a key thing to do. It's a difficult thing to do because actually it's a lot of work and a lot of consistency. And there's another side to that. If you praise your child, it's the way of praising that matters. If your child came home and, I don't know, drew a beautiful drawing, and you say, "Oh, that drawing is so beautiful. This is such a beautiful drawing. I love this drawing." And this child is happy, and you're happy. But what does it give to a child? Does it give him the confidence that he drew this beautiful, beautiful piece? No. It just gave them the boost that you saw their beautiful thing. Someone saw something that is beautiful, and therefore their self-confidence is coming from you because you've seen it and you told them. So if you say something negative, that will crush their confidence. But if you say, you acknowledge the effort that they've put. You say, so I remember you were struggling to keep the lines, or you were doing something, and now look, you're adding these colors together, and this is what you've done, this is your work. Like, you have to be so proud of yourself. It just makes you feel proud of yourself because you see, oh yeah, I did actually put these colors together. I actually did stay in line, and actually usually I struggle with doing the eyes, but this time I've done the eyes, whatever it is, right? Whatever detail it is. Or if it's writing, I usually struggle to write the letter C, but now this time I actually did. I see it, right? It's round and it's beginning here and finishing here and doing the movements. So it's not about, oh, you've done this. You kind of go in depth, and you sometimes in the beginning it's difficult to do that. I really struggle to be like, oh, I don't know what to say. You kind of make things up. It's not that you're making things up, but you're just at it and saying everything that you see and say, you worked so hard, especially if you've seen them do it. If they stick their tongue out, some children stick their tongue out when they're really focused, you can say, I saw how focused you were when you were doing that. Your tongue was up here. You can even have a little joke saying, oh, is your cheek still wet? Because the tongue that was there. Like, I don't know, just make something, acknowledge whatever you're doing. You can say, you know what, I saw when you were changing the pens or you were just sharpening things, and that's what builds their confidence, that actually they're capable of doing things, and someone noticed, and that therefore when someone noticed it, they put the attention on the things that they've done and focus on what they've done instead of focusing what you think about work. Therefore, they're not focusing on what you think about them. They're focusing on what they've done for themselves. A long answer for your question.
You've blown my mind already. And I feel like I should just remain here like for the rest of the day. Okay, so the final question, I thought I was going to make it of this, but then when I didn't say this. The final question is like, how did you come to learn all these things? Did you have to read books, go for seminars, consult? This parenting thing, I always tell people that when it comes to marriage, you go for marriage counseling, you go for whatever. But when it comes to parenting, everybody is doing trial and error. Do you understand?
Yes.
So, like, did you study for it? Did you go for seminars? Did you read books? All of that.
Yes, all of that. So I did. I took part in webinars and courses. I completed as well personal performance coach and NLP to understand how brain works and to understand your connections in the brain and things that link together and how neuropaths are created. So I've learned about all those aspects, and even now I am actually in the middle of reading a book about body language, about cues that we send when we're speaking, and this is something I'm going to be teaching my son. So I take every possible way to learn things, but the truth is that what I realized that parenting and learning how to parent is learning about your own childhood. And that was my journey, at least. Learning how I was supported or failed, what I needed from my parents, or what didn't happen for me, and how the things that did happen for me or to me influence what's happening with me now. And it was hard because I had multiple conversations with my parents about this, saying this is what happened. It's not to blame them, because parents do, and this is something we have to remember, parents do only what they know, and you cannot do more unless you learn more. So my parents did what they thought is best, and they did much better than their parents. But still, because there was no physical knowledge or wasn't so easily accessible, or they just didn't want to access, because obviously I had to now unlearn a lot of things and just learn what happened to me. So when I was, and this happened when I was reading about different different parenting styles, and I saw that my parents were on a spectrum. My dad was very like a dictator, not a dictator, authoritarian, basically, but kind of like, so he had the upper hand and very like, he had the decision making was, he was making decisions, like this was like the man of the house kind of thing. Whereas my mom was very permissive, I think that's the word.
Amazing.
So there was no boundary setting, and I had a spectrum of very two different parenting on very two different spectrums. So I had things from my dad, I had things from my mom, and I was neither here nor there. I wasn't in the middle. I was very much like not here, moved, but again, not in a balanced way, in having some things from being permissive. And I saw this, and observed this not as a parent, because obviously I started to learn very early on about this, but as a human, as a person in life, as a person in a company. How did I put my ideas forward? How did I see my achievements? I didn't. Until someone didn't come to me and say, "Oh, you've done so good. Like, this was such a great project." I felt a sense of accomplishment only then. And then I linked that back to my dad. Linked it back to him always motivating me by praising me, his praises, saying, you've done this, like, no, you've done this, sorry. Oh, you've got an A, or oh, you got something. So it's the effect, like at the end of the scale, doesn't matter what work I put into it, it was the end that counted, nothing else. So if I would fail, I would learn for 3 days for exam, and I would fail that exam. There was no praises, because the 3 days didn't matter. But if I learned for 3 days and I had an A, whatever, that was the praise, right? You got the good grades. My sister was motivated differently, and now I struggled with feeling that I need to be externally motivated, whereas my sister was never good enough. She was always really good accomplishments, very smart, multiple languages, but she's never good enough, because her praising was different. My dad would say, "Oh, you could have done better," because that's what he felt worked for us, and it did. It did work for us, because he accomplished what he was wanting, for her to be motivated to do better, and for me, because I was always the slower one, always the less accomplished one, compared to my sister. My praising was different, and then I had a drive to do more, so I get the praise. But actually, it was never really about me. It was always the external praise about someone else. So I didn't do this for me, and this is why I struggled later. That if I did a project, it didn't count until someone said it's good. I wasn't proud until someone said I should be proud, and that's only when I felt that I'm proud, because someone validated my work.
External validation.
Yes, and it wasn't me. So if you see my son now, if he does something, he doesn't come to you and say, "Oh, can you do this?" He will say like, "Oh, I did this. This is my work." He is like busting with proud. He is absolutely proud of everything he does. He goes swimming, and he's 5. He started to learn a few months ago. He's not good at swimming, but he's like, "Oh no, I'm so much better at swimming now. I'm just doing all those things. I'm so good at swimming." He's not. He feels so proud because of the accomplishments that he is doing. Because from having no skill to having this much skill, this was a really big step for him. And he worked so hard for months, every week, twice a week, to actually get here. And he's already so proud, because it doesn't matter if he knows how to swim or doesn't know how to swim. It's how much work and patience and dedication and passion he's putting into this skill that he's learning.
Sorry, I said the last one right. I just remember something now. I only asked you how you were able to eliminate screen time, right?
Yes.
So what are alternatives to substitute the screen time? Like what activities do you think parents can introduce into their children's daily schedules?
It's a tricky one because all depends on the parents. I do a lot of things with my son, so I find activities that work for me and for him. So we do a lot of building together, we do a lot of crafting together, doing things outside and outdoors. But again, it's only me and him, so if this was a big family, maybe I wouldn't have the time to do that. And sometimes I don't have the time. I implement strategies in my house. I do frozen batch cooking. I prepare everything. I have frozen meals that I'm happy with. They're home cooked. They just need to be defrosted, and it's done. Not defrosted and cooked, basically. But that's like no work. 10 minutes of work and that's it. So I can have the capacity with the time. But what we do is, because I like arts and crafts, and from early on we started to draw. So we do drawing together, or we do painting together, or we do building something together. And it's not like me sitting there being, oh, I have to sit here. No, I'm excited, even if I don't feel like it, because if he feels that I don't want to be there, he will know that this time isn't good for both of us. And sometimes it's great to say, I'm not really high levels, I'm happy to be here, I'm really enjoying this time with you, but I'm not in high spirits to be super excited about this. But the actual physical things that we do wool animals, which is just basically having a piece of wool or acrylic wool, which is a little bit, it's not as easy to work with, but it's still very possible to work with. And we do with a needle, you craft animals or you craft different things, and it's a bit scary because there's a needle, but it's really fun. Nicholas really likes it, he really enjoys it. I have different beads, or we have different coloring books. So I have a lot of different things at home, and I buy them new, I buy them used, I buy them on Facebook, I buy them as a bundle. Different ways. There's no right or wrong way. The only thing that I do put into now, he doesn't really have toys that are one way of doing things. He doesn't have a toy that is just a button clicking. How fun is that? It's not. He has toys that build his imagination, and they will widen his spectrum of things that he wants to do. And every time I listen, so the way I listen what he tells me. If I pick up that he's really interested into space, he would talk about space things, we would go to a library and get a book about space, and then we read it for the night or something. Yeah, I know. But this is like our reading time at night. Could be a story, but equally it could be about the universe, or about how dinosaurs died and what happened with their bones and how they find their bones. I know. But yeah, this is just the things that we do, and this is how I keep up with his interests. Like if he tells me that he will talk about animals, then I'll make sure that we will go to a farm and see how animals live, or we'll go and see how chickens prosper. Like how is it that an egg is an egg, and where does it come from? I will take him to a farm, I'll show it to him. Or I will take him to the beach and we'll throw rocks in the water, or we will have rocks and we'll take a bucket and throw and try to aim. We make a game of that. It's depending on how flexible you are and what are the things that you like to do. At the beginning, it was a lot of time out of the house. It was going on bike rides, or going for little walks, or scootering, or anything else. We would spend time outside of the house, and then obviously bedtime is bedtime, and that's it. But it means that you are engaged with the child, and you just do things.
But with all of this, are you a full-time mom? Are you a full-time mom?
No, I work. I mean, I am a full-time mom, but I do work.
So like, how is your work schedule like?
So I work part-time, and I'm opening a business now. And I actually, yes, I do a lot of things. So this is basically what I do. So Nicholas, I want to get him involved in business and in things that you do. My mother is a businesswoman. She owns her own company for 20 years. And this was something always that I aspired to do. So I work in finance. So for me, it is a difficult way of making sure that I have time for Nicholas and I have time for work and I have time for business. And I'm aspiring for Nicholas to be homeschooled as well because that's another story of things that I believe that he should be learning, etc. And this is something I'm still aspiring to do in regards to for him to be with me. But yeah, I work 3 full time. I work 3 days a week, and then 2 days a week I work on my business, and I renovate my house. I do a lot of things. I'm probably not a good example because my energy levels are really high.
The reason I'm asking is, the way you were talking,
Yeah.
it was sounding like everything about you revolves around Nicholas.
Yeah,
So that was why I asked. Any other thing you'd like to tell my audience?
Yeah. So my life doesn't go around Nicholas. It does sound like this way when I talk about things because I do put a lot of time and effort into raising him. But it's important to know that your child is for the world, and it's important to know that in 15 years time, 11 years time, 10 years time, 5 years time, depending on how old your child is, you're not going to be the most important person in their life. They're going to go do their own thing, and it's important for you to understand what you like, your own hobbies. I have my hobbies that I dedicate time to as well, and I have things that I'm passionate about, and I have the business that I'm creating, and it's important to have a balance and remember that you're a human, that you're a human, that you're allowed to do things for yourself. And the one thing that I want to say as a parent to parents, you're okay to fail and you're okay to get up. Once you do fail, just take the accountability and say you're sorry for yelling, you're sorry for grabbing the hand, or you're sorry for not being there, or just leaving the room. Acknowledge that and just hold yourself accountable in front of your child to say that I made a mistake and I'm sorry next time. I will try to find a way to be better. That will show the child that actually mistakes are okay. Mistakes are part of learning. And having the accountability will make them have accountability because they will model you. That's what I would say.
Thank you. How many hours spent? Almost 2 hours. We have done really well. Thank you so much. I don't know how best to thank you. Thank you so much for coming. Thank you for watching. This is my first time doing live. I'm trying to understand the settings. In case if anything is wrong with this video, please take it like that. I don't know. Let me check if there are questions already. I didn't do my publicity well. So let me see if there are questions on it. If there are no questions, then we continue. Yeah, nothing yet. So I hope one more time I'm gonna invite, but next time you're going to be the one in charge. Just come and tell me this what I feel like this, and all of that. So thank you.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you. Alright. I've come to the end of this video. Don't forget to like, share, comment. Tell your friend that is finding it difficult raising that child. Please try to share this video with that person. Somebody I was telling me that a woman returned her child back to Nigeria because they were not getting along. And the child kept putting them into trouble and all of that.
Yeah.
I feel like if that kind of mother listens to this kind of conversation, it will help. So I think we are doing something good, right? Yeah. All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming. I really appreciate it. Yeah. 1 hour 20 minutes.
Good.
Oh.
Everything good?